Greetings from the past before the time travels, and welcome back to another episode of The Ladder. My name is Sai, and I don't wanna. But it is not those that trigger a memory. It's those chilling eyes. Calling. Beckoning.
Why won't you listen to her?
Goosebumps. All at once, the memory returns to me. A tide that has receded and now returns to shore with an overwhelming force, carrying images of a single moment from days ago. Of a world passing by in a blur, and of features I can barely discern under the little light there was. Not even a week has passed. In this minute, while I keep my eyes trained on the child before me, they return with such unbearable clarity. There are no hard wounds this time, no blood streaming down a pale face. Thank heavens! Just lips contorted into a small, twisted smile. They brim with venom. I've never expected to ever see a child, sending tiny pinpricks of dread crawling up my limbs and winding up my neck. Oh, I can't even breathe anymore. What? You're a bad person. People like you deserve to die. I can't breathe. What? What is happening? Those whispers and laughters again. Judging, mocking, taunting. Each scoffing word ringing sharp and true against my ears. My throat closes in. My whole body tenses. A chill stands at the tips of my fingers, every digit's gone rigid from the cold. With every single draw of my breath, any struggle for air or freedom, the coils wrapped around my body tightened, dragging me down. A gradual, torturous descent into another bottomless abyss. On, and on, and on, until I lose touch with myself and the world.
Help me!
Until darkness claims me, and, unexpectedly, a note. In the distance, harsh and piercing, cutting through the thick stupor and shattering the haze without warning.
Are you ladies done with your business here? I don't have all morning to wait for you two.
My eyes snap open, and the world shifts into place with a ragged gasp. When I glance up, a different set of eyes greeted me.
Are you okay, Miss Pink?
No. No anger. No vile hatred in them. Just plain, sincere concern. Bit by bit, I become aware of my surroundings and myself as warmth steadily slips back to me. I've reached out for the nearby counter to steady myself at some point, and my knuckles have gone white from how rigid my grip on it is. It's over now, yet the tension hasn't left my body. My heart still hammers against my chest in an erratic rhythm, and my breathing still comes in short, shallow bursts. For me, Kylie fumbles with her hand, utterly unsure of what to do to an adult in what's probably a laughable state.
Did you get sick? I'll call Teal, okay? Stay here and don't move.
No. No need. Just leave me alone.
Teal will know how to fix you. Oh wait, okay?
I wish I can speak reassurance to her, but I can't shake it off. The dread is there, twisting at my insides in anticipation. Of what? I am no longer sure. Pushing myself off the counter, I break off into a run. Brushing off the anxious-looking Kylie gives me, when I gently push her away on my way out, or the furrow in Luke's brows when I stumble into him outside. Whatever they both saw in my face, I care not to know. Bloody hell, I don't even understand what's happening anymore. The tremors continue long after the last of my classes have ended. Although none of my students have commented on it, I've caught a few sharing anxious glances. Every time a pen slips from by my hand or my shoulders tense whenever I called. How unusual it must be for them to see the normally composed Mrs. Gales become a bundle of nerves. Even the most boisterous ones have given me less grief today. You'd think being on my fourth cup of tea would provide any sort of comfort. Or is this the fifth? Agad, why does counting matter now? The fact that I can't easily shake it off this time should tell me something. The last time this happened, I passed it off as some lapse in my part, after having been sick the week before.
And it is a natural conclusion.
Those are just stories. A century-old lore passed by the locusts to keep children in line. What place doesn't have those? One of my DAS books even went as far as to describe them as a strong part of Isabella's culture. Tree giants, women who feed on unborn children, straight from a mother's womb, or hell, there's even that one story about a demon baby. All folklore that never had a smidget of truth in it, most probably told to scare off the natives there back in the old days, much like every other one in every other place. The world is more universal than people care to think, but looking at it from where I'm standing now, after staring right into the eyes of that woman, after all the things I've been hearing and feeling, perhaps there's really more to that bloody letter than some awful Halloween prank.
Perhaps Isabella's right all along.
A terrible thing if true. Though that thought doesn't linger long, thankfully. Soon, the ringing of my mobile takes my attention away from it. An unfamiliar name flashes before me That's not right! An unfamiliar name flashes before me once the screen lights up and my brows knit together. Marianne McCullough. Staring hard against the screen, I try to remember when I've entered this person on my contact list. It takes a moment, but when it clicks, my eye zeroes in on the book lying wide open on my table. Loaned out from the library almost a week ago. I met the woman there by sheer coincidence, a fellow history buff apparently. We were after the same book, but in the end, she's given it to me, under the condition that I call her once I'm done. To be honest, I've completely forgotten about it until now, and, well, I haven't really taken a peek at it until today. Normally, I'd be done with the whole volume of this size a few days after taking it out, about 1 or 2 depending on how busy I am. But finding a chance to sit down and read through it has been more difficult lately than I anticipated. One moment, I'm busy simply grading worksheets, attending a movie premiere the next, then someone suddenly inviting me out for one reason or another. Days later, a friend stops showing up in her flat right after worrying reports pop up in the local news. There simply isn't enough time to breathe and get a grip on these things. I have been flipping through the pages of said book moments ago, though never really reading anything and merely hoping for a distraction. To no avail. My phone gives out another ring, and this time I do not hesitate to answer.
Marianne?
Hello! Here I was starting to wonder if it was a bad time to call. Is it?
No, not at all. I dismissed my last class a few minutes ago. I'm pretty much free for the rest of the afternoon, unless something comes up. Is this about last time? The book?
Not really. I was hoping to ask you about some other thing.
Oh, sure. What about?
You grew up in this city, didn't you?
It's a peculiar question to ask someone you've just met, but I answer her nevertheless. I'm more curious where she's heading with this by starting with that.
Born and raised. 3rd-generation migrant. Why do you ask?
So, you must be familiar with the local lore. The, stories?
Quite. If I'm going to teach about history, I'd like to think I am, yeah? But a family friend would be a better person to ask. If you want, I can contact him for you.
No, let's just keep this thing between us, okay? It's nothing too big. Alright. I really don't know how else to put this without sounding a bit crazy. But things have been really, odd. Do you remember the mansion I mentioned back when we met? My current project?
In hindsight, I should have expected it will lead to this. She must not have lived here long if she's just asking about this now. It didn't take a week with Isabella when she arrived. But that's Isabella, superstitious down to the last hair. Though it won't be too far to think Marianne has only started thinking about this recently. She's working on the damn house itself. I must admit, even I'm curious now, despite living here for so many years and having so many chances to look it up before.
The Ermengarde mansion, yes?
Yes, that one. And, the thing is... Oh dear, this is a bad idea. You know what? Just forget I ever called you about this.
It must have been the sunny weather. It's making me sick and see stupid things. See things?
No, wait. It's alright. I don't mind.
There's a moment pause before she responds again. She's right in that. This is a silly thing to talk about, especially between what I assume two people who are pretty grounded on their beliefs with regards to these things. I won't blame her if she hesitates.
I can't believe I'm asking you about this.
It's fine. Why don't you just think of it as some form of research?
Well, alright. But after this, we're going to forget we ever had this talk.
My lips will be sealed. Now, what is it about the mansion?
Just, what do you know about it? The general gist. The place's past. What happened to the owners? Anything you can give me.
Let's see. To start off,
I do my best to give her a concise summary from the time the house was commissioned 400 years ago and who had it built, up to the point it got deserted after the last heir's death, and the deed was passed on the Ermengarde's nearest relatives. Frankly, if it weren't for those urban legends persisting, the house would have already faded into obscurity long ago. Demolished even. These are all nothing she probably hasn't heard of before, yet there's dissatisfaction in her tone once I finish.
That's all there really is to it?
as far as I know, there's this little bit I forgot to mention about Lady Charlotte Ermengarde's death, but most of those are just theories. Aside from that, this is really everything we've been teaching all these years. Should there be anything more?
No mention of any other weird stuff? Other crazy stories? Or a letter of some sort?
My blood runs cold. Any warmth and comfort the tea I've drank has given me prior has instantly been drained out of me. The phone creaks softly as my light hold on it turns into a firm grip. This whole letter bullshit is starting to turn into more than a coincidence.
None that I've heard or read of. What does a letter have to do with this?
Oh, no. It was just something I came across. Ignore it. Random thoughts, you know? By the way, I need to run. Thanks for answering my questions.
She ends the call abruptly with only a clipped goodbye, leaving my mind heavy with even more thoughts. The mood around my classroom has gone considerably denser, in light of what little I've gleaned from that conversation. So, what's the new stuff I've got? After the strange encounter of the little girl's room, Rebecca tried to remain composed throughout her day. As her classes ended, she received a phone call from Mary McCullough, who asked unusual things about the Ermengarde mansion. What happened before? Oh. I don't think Marianne's lying about her intent. Her interest is genuine. I'd give her that, but she's left a lot of things out. I get the sense she only asked because something's happening around her too. And if she hadn't mentioned the letter, I probably wouldn't have made the connection.
Just what the hell did we get ourselves into?
Yeah, I wonder. Of course, there's still a lot of confusing details in this. All of these are just assumptions. No concrete conclusion to be formed with what we have. And if we want to find out what we are really dealing with, I think Marian's right. There might be something more to those stories. As absurd as it sounds, the very place that gave us that letter might tell us something beyond what we know. And tomorrow night, I have a few hours of that chance at the housewarming party. Totally not an exciting thought, since the place is privately owned now. I can't just wander around. But it's enough reason to keep the dread at bay, as I step out of the room, ready to put an end to this day. Oh, goddamn. However, all those good vibes disappear into thin air when I run headfirst into Luke. There's really something in this man. Regardless of how much my opinion of him has changed over the span of a few hours, he simply blasts through every good impression people have of him without care or thought. He doesn't even need to open his mouth, his mere presence does it. In all honesty, I think he's the kind of guy only a mother can love.
You're still here?
Obviously. Who do you think's standing in front of you?
An ass.
Oh,
Wow.
come on, Daisy. You've done better than that. Losing your touch?
Luke, I don't have time for this. I'm heading home, and your face is the last thing I want to see before I leave. What do you want?
But lately, I'd noticed his hand. Partly raised, almost poised for a knock. At a slight lift of an eyebrow, he quickly drops it to his side and turns to Kylie. She's standing a few steps away from him, holding her hands behind her back and toeing at something on the floor with tip of her shoe. Then he proceeds to make vague gestures at me and the child. He resembles a fish flopping for air with the way he's moving his arms, though I think he's trying to urge her to speak up.
Munchkin, I thought you wanted to tell her something.
You do it, Tio.
This wasn't my idea, darling.
Don't worry. I won't tell Tia what you told me the other day. And this morning.
Luke exhales, rolling his eyes at the ceiling and maybe praying for the universe to grant him more patience. He knows a losing battle when he sees one. He may act worse than a 5-year-old throwing a tantrum at times, but he's no match for an actual child. Nothing better than being served a dose of his own medicine, huh? Once his frustration has promptly let out, he points a rude finger at me. I do my best to stare the offending digit down, but I can already hear the demand before it's even out of his lips.
You, come with us.
What makes you think I will?
Because little Rugrat here is upset and worried, and it's your bloody fault.
Well, shite.
I've no idea what happened this morning, but if you don't come with us, I won't be hearing the end of it from her. So do me a favor, Daisy, and just be glad I'm inviting you.
You're asking for a favor, and you can't be bothered to be polite? I don't know. It's been a really busy day for me. I kind of miss my couch.
Daisy, you just say yes.
A pause follows, almost too dramatic. Afterwards, his face twists into something between a grimace and a smile. As it happens, he appears like he's in a lot of physical pain. You'd think the man is getting an aneurysm by simply being polite.
Please?
Wow.
Tia said it'll be his treat.
What? I said no such thing, Munchkin. I only agreed to this because you requested it. I'm under no obligation to feed her.
I promise I'll be quiet the next time I visit.
Oh, all right, but just one meal and make it the cheapest.
He and Ashton will get along famously on that department. On a different front, the offer of free dinner does sound enticing, however half-heartedly given it is. Mostly because Kylie has wisely put on her puppy eyes, and by the second, I find all my choices slipping away from me.
See, Miss Pink? It'll be fun. You don't have to feel sad anymore, okay?
Oh, well,
My mobile buzzes from a pocket, cutting me mid-sentence, and for a second I'm spared from the act of giving an answer I regret either way. Fishing the gadget out, I wave a hand at him and excuse myself. A disgruntled expression is on Luke's face before I turn away. I'd be lying if I say it didn't amuse me. He's as eager to be done with this as I am, but what can I do? Checking a message from Ashton shows up. Hey Becca, I'll be around Salem Well this evening. Need to meet someone in the area. I might have to drop by yours and Isabel's place after. See ya. Oh, just the usual. Unlike what he does to Zachary, Ashton has the decency to let us know when he's dropping by or he's in the area for some business. From the way it's phrased, it sounds to be the latter. Either way, I'm glad he's at least aware of that boundary. Not that Isabella's ever going to let him leave the building unscathed if he ever pulls the same stunt he does with the other man. I cringe to imagine what she'll do to him. Sighing, I slip the gadget back to my pocket. But looking up to see Luke's utter impatience on his face, I now face a different dilemma. The two of them are still waiting, and knowing the kind of person Luke is, This is already a grand gesture of goodwill coming from him. All to please his godchild. His denials aside, it's easy to tell he's really fond of Kylie from his actions alone. I kinda hate to ruin that.
Well, Daisy, we're waiting here.
Yes, and guys, you need to wait too. That's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe to my channel if you're already subscribed. Click on the notification bell down below so you get notified when I upload my videos. Share us on all your social media, and guys, we'll see you in the future or back in the letter. High five! I'm getting the hang of it again. Woo!